You have been in that moment. You know the one. Where something small, something that should have been nothing, turns into a full-blown argument that leaves you lying awake at 3 in the morning replaying every single word. Your chest is tight, your mind is racing. And the person you care about most in the world suddenly feels like a complete stranger standing on the other side of a wall you both built together, and neither of you knows how to tear it down. That feeling is one of the most painful things a human being can experience, and what makes it worse is that nobody teaches you how to handle it. Not in school, not growing up. Most of us learned how to argue from watching the people around us argue. Which means most of us learned how to win, not how to heal. And here is the hard truth. Winning an argument with someone you love is one of the most expensive victories you will ever have. Because what you win in the moment, you often lose in the relationship over time. Research in relationship psychology consistently shows that how couples and close relationships handle conflict is one of the single greatest predictors of whether those relationships survive and thrive or slowly deteriorate. It is not about how much you love each other. It is about what happens in those heated moments when love feels the furthest away. So if you've ever felt like no matter what you say it comes out wrong, if you've ever watched an argument spiral from a small misunderstanding into something that took days or weeks to recover from, if you have ever felt completely unheard even when you were saying exactly how you felt, this is for you. Now before we go further, if you already know that your relationship patterns are costing you more than just sleep and mental peace, if arguments are affecting your health, your focus at work, your confidence, your sense of self, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. These are programs built specifically for people who are serious about transforming the way they connect and communicate at the deepest level. Do not wait until the next blow up to wish you had started sooner. Let us get into this. The first thing most people get wrong when an argument starts is trying to fix the problem before they have addressed the emotion. You see, your brain in a heated moment is not operating the way it does when you are calm. When you feel attacked, even if the attack is accidental, your nervous system floods your body with stress hormones. Your heart rate spikes, your thinking becomes narrow, and your entire focus shifts to defending yourself. This is not a character flaw, this is biology, and understanding that changes everything. Because here is what is actually happening in most arguments. Two people who care about each other are both feeling unsafe at the same time. One person feels unheard, the other feels blamed. And because both of them are in a defensive state, nobody is actually listening. Both are just waiting for a pause long enough to explain themselves. Think about the last time you were in a heated moment. Were you actually absorbing what the other person was saying, or were you formulating your response? Be honest with yourself, because the moment you stop truly listening, the conversation stops being a conversation. It becomes a courtroom, and nobody feels loved in a courtroom. Here is the first shift that changes everything. Before you try to be understood, try to understand, not strategically, not to find ammunition for your next point, genuinely. When you feel that fire rising in your chest, when you feel the urge to defend yourself or prove your point, pause, take a slow breath, and ask yourself one question. What is this person actually feeling right now? Not what are they saying, what are they feeling? Because in almost every argument, the words on the surface are covering something deeper. Frustration about feeling dismissed, fear about being abandoned, sadness about feeling like they do not matter. And when you can speak to that feeling instead of fighting the words, something extraordinary happens. The whole energy of the moment shifts. Psychologists who have spent decades studying human conflict have found that feeling genuinely heard can de-escalate an argument faster than any logical explanation or well-reasoned argument ever could. People do not need to be agreed with. They need to feel seen. Now here is where most people stumble even when they know this. They try to do it perfectly. They wait for the right words. They overthink the technique. And then the moment passes and they are back in the same pattern again. The truth is, it does not have to be perfect. It just has to be real. You can say something as simple as, "I can see this really matters to you. Tell me more." Those 7 words can stop an argument in its tracks. Not because they are magic, but because they signal something the other person has been desperate to receive. Safety, connection, respect. Now let us talk about something that almost nobody discusses when it comes to resolving conflict, the role of timing. You can say the exact right thing at the exact wrong time and it will land like a bomb instead of a bridge. When someone is at a 10% on the emotional scale, logic does not reach them. Empathy barely reaches them. Their nervous system is not ready to receive information. It is in survival mode. The most emotionally intelligent thing you can do in those peak moments is not to fix it. It is to stabilize it. That might look like saying, "I want to work through this with you. Can we take 20 minutes and come back to it when we are both a little calmer?" That is not avoidance. That is wisdom. And couples and friends who practice this consistently report dramatically faster resolution times and far less emotional damage from conflict. Here is the pattern interrupt. Most people think pausing is giving up, The people who consistently have the healthiest relationships know that pausing is one of the most powerful tools they have. It signals self-regulation, it signals respect, and it creates the conditions where real resolution actually becomes possible. Now let us talk about language. Because the words you choose during a disagreement either open doors or close them permanently. There is a fundamental difference between saying, "You always do this," and saying, "When this happens, I feel." One puts the other person on trial, the other opens a conversation. One creates a wall, the other creates a window. Shifting to language that describes your experience rather than indicts their behavior is not weakness. It takes incredible self-awareness and emotional courage. But the return on that investment is staggering. Relationships where both people communicate from their own experience instead of attacking the other person resolve conflict up to 3 times faster and report significantly higher levels of satisfaction and trust. 3 times faster. Let that sink in. All those hours, days, sometimes weeks of cold silence and emotional distance reduced to a fraction of the time just by shifting the way you speak. And here is something powerful. When you model this kind of communication, something remarkable happens. The other person almost always mirrors it back. Not immediately, not perfectly, but over time, because humans are wired for reciprocity. When you offer safety, safety tends to come back to you. Now think about what life looks like when this becomes your default. When arguments stop being wars and start being conversations. When you stop dreading difficult topics because you know you have the tools to navigate them without destroying the connection. When you stop carrying that heavy weight of unresolved tension through your days and your nights. When you wake up next to someone or walk through your life alongside people who feel like allies instead of opponents. That is not a fantasy. That is what becomes possible when you commit to learning this at a deep level. We have all tried to figure this out on our own. Most of us have been trying for years, and there is nothing wrong with you for struggling with it. But there is something you can do about it today. The related programs linked down below in the video description are designed for exactly the person you are right now. Someone who knows something has to change. Someone who is ready to stop repeating the same painful cycles and start building something genuinely different. These programs are not for people who are comfortable staying stuck. They are for people ready to move. If that is you, do not let this be another moment you almost took action on. Everything you need is waiting for you right there in the description.